At a certain point in my life, it felt like no matter how much I prayed, no matter how much I fasted, no matter how much I did, it felt like I was gonna forever be stuck. You know, like I was never gonna get my breakthrough. It was definitely something spiritual where it was like, why does it feel like something is keeping me from where I know I should be? Like, it just felt like I was being thrown so much BS all the time, you know? And that's when God told me, he was like, well, it's not even the enemy, right? It's not even your haters. It's your habits. It's you, right? It's the toxic relationships you have. It's the bad decisions that you made in the past that have gotten you to some aspects of your life that you're not necessarily proud of, or that you don't like, or that you're not happy with. And he was like, although I'm working everything out for your good, you have to keep in mind that your habits form what your life looks like. And so I was like, once I got that revelation, I was like, I gotta share it with you to expose all these habits that God told me that I was dealing with. I was like, wow. So, you know, and the crazy thing is, we don't even realize it. It's things that we do every day that we don't even realize. So here are 5 habits that are secretly holding you back. Let's start with the one that's really common, that a lot of people struggle with, which is constant comparison. And a lot of that is social media's fault. Like, you go on Instagram and you start comparing your life to someone's highlight reel, and it's like, okay, how did this happen? You know? And it's like, you see everyone living the life that you really want to live, and it leads to comparison. It leads to, well, that's happening for her, why isn't it happening for me? Or, you know, if she has that body, why, you know, I need to get that body. And it's destroying our peace, it's destroying our confidence, and it's allowing us not to trust God's timing. If you don't trust God's timing, it's over, because he's already said, okay, this is going to happen when I want it to happen, when it should happen, and you want it quicker, you know. And you're always going to bump heads with God if you just say, okay, God, you're in control. I don't have that now, but I know you'll give it to me in the future, you know. And it's like, the more we compare, the less we trust that we're exactly where we need to be. In Galatians 6:4, it says, each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. So when you start testing your own actions, when you start saying, well, what do I need to do to get to the place that I want to be? You start putting the focus on you and less on others. And you're more satisfied with yourself in the end, right? And where God has you. Even if you don't struggle with comparison, here's another habit that's just as dangerous. And that's seeking validation over your calling, right? A lot of us, whether we want to admit it or not, are seeking people's approval, right? We do things based off of what other people think we should do instead of what God tells us to do. And it's like, we start things, and it's like, we'll stop if we don't get enough likes, enough validation, recognition. You know, like, it happened to me. I'm 5'9". By the way, I think I'm the perfect height. But I'm pretty tall for a woman. And a lot of people used to say, Dom, you should play basketball, you should play volleyball, you should model, you should. And I chased all that. I did all that, and it didn't bring me any satisfaction. I wasn't an asset, because it wasn't something that fulfilled me, because I wasn't supposed to be there. You know what I mean? I failed to ask God, well, God, why did you make me this height? Right? You created me. What am I really supposed to be doing? Am I ever going to use this height? You know what I mean? I felt like I was letting down, like, a lot of people. It was like, you're tall, you're not gonna play any sports. And it's like, well, that's not what I was meant to do. You gotta stop chasing other people's opinion of what you are, and putting you in a box, instead of saying, God, please use me to my full purpose, right? In Colossians 3 verse 23, it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So you're saying, God, I'm working for you, so I'm going to put my all into this. And it just makes everything much more satisfying, because I'd much rather work for the Lord than for a mean boss, or for high school kids that didn't really like me to begin with, right? There you go. So this next one is about to hit home. Okay, habit number 3 is consuming more than you create. A lot of us, we get caught up in consuming all the videos, right? Everybody else's content, but we fail to create our own, right? Like, when was the last time you were like, okay, I'm just gonna watch one video and then 1 hour disappears because you watched 10. You know, like, or you're probably into watching sermons. Like me, I'm into watching like self-help videos and things like that. And it's like, I felt so productive. I was like, ooh, I got all this knowledge, you know? But really, I was just in a cycle of watching instead of doing. But here's the truth. God didn't create us to be spectators, right? He gave us talents. He gave you ideas. He gave you a purpose that requires action. In James 1:22, it says, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. When you watch a sermon, when you read the Bible, when you read a good self-help book, it's so good to retain that knowledge, but it doesn't become wisdom until you start to apply the knowledge to your life, right? When you start to do the things. So if you've been needing some encouragement, or a sign to start the business, right? Write the book. Okay, do it. Do the thing. Well, this next habit is probably the number one thing stopping people from walking in their purpose, is overthinking and waiting for the perfect moment, right? How many times have you told yourself, I'll start, but I just need to plan a little bit more? Or I'll start, but everything needs to be right? Like I need to get some more time. And it's like, it's never going to be the right time. I tell you something, and I say this with love, you're stalling. Okay, you're stalling because it's not that you're not ready. You're scared. You're scared of judgment. You're scared of not being enough. You're scared of people, thinking that you don't know what you're talking about. In Ecclesiastes 11:4, it says, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. So when you say, oh, I'm just waiting for the perfect moment, you're really staying stuck, right? You're not going anywhere. God is not looking for us to be perfect. He's not asking for perfection. He's just asking for your obedience, right? He's just saying, do it. So start scared, start unsure, start messy, but just start. Okay, so this last habit is a habit that no one wants to hear about, but it's honestly draining us. It's why there's a thing called burnout. And that is neglecting rest, neglecting sleep, and calling it grinding, right? And I get it. That's our culture, right? It's no sleep. I can sleep when I'm rich. Hard work, grind. It's like, whoa, wait. Like how can I pour from an empty cup, right? Like if I don't get sleep, how am I supposed to sustain whatever I'm building? I have to be the first to step up to the congregation, okay, Dominique? Because I used to go to bed super, super late, and sometimes I still do. I can't be my best for God. I can't be my best for anybody if I'm frustrated and groggy and, my brain's not functioning well. Honestly, if you wake up feeling groggy and frustrated, are you really going to be in the mood to pray? Are you going to be in the mood to give advice and create and be a service to others? No. Rest now so that you can sustain what you're building.